thing, these aliens, even myself being a UFO investigator, what comes to mind is it something more deeper for our human existence when it comes down to this ufology or consciousness community, right? I know oftentimes that we walk around with the term of, or we woke, or somebody's awakened, or wherever we want to put it. But what happens is there a plus and negative, or a yin and yang, when it comes down to telling some person that you're not woke versus woke? Where is the threshold that becomes the point that we can look somebody in the eye and say, I'm woke and you're not woke? And so I've always questioned that, right? I've always questioned, what is that level when a person hit the needle and say, okay, they're awake? Could it be this big thing? But also there's people out there that wear this with a badge of honor. They wear this I'm woke thing as though it is the key or to into the next era, or you now are not the same as the people that are not, and they don't understand. And that's something I've always questioned, even with Why the Big Secret, as we've covered all types of content, topics, different styles. The researchers and the team, they'll tell you that I've always just been wavering all the way through this journey on definitely the impact. So the other day I sat down and decided to come up with what I call my superpower word that will resonate with you, and also so you can understand who I am, and then the journey that I have taken, and from the beginning to where we are now, and what I'm going to share intimately with you tonight only, as it's going to make some headway down next week when we're going to really announce some things that are happening. But that journey has always been one word, and that's question. That journey, or my superpower word, has always been question, but now it's also our new tagline: question the narrative, right? And why will we do that? Why is it necessary for us to question the narrative, no matter what it is? Whether it's the big secret keepers, whether it's some teaching that you have had, whether it's the religion that you are in or under, or that you perceive, whether it's just really the reason that you may be in a relationship with somebody, you want to question the narrative, because if you do, then you may be able to seek some answers and find out some things in this particular, whether it's real, fake, or whether it's a go, or whether it's not a go, whether your life should take a turn, and whether it's not, or what we're hearing in mainstream media is something that we should concur with, right? Is it something that should lead us or be able to impact our lives? But now we're going to go to that, because it's all about the why, with Why the Big Secret. It's all about what is happening behind the curtains, like the Wizard of Oz, and what's going on behind that. And that's something that has been driven inside of me since I was a little boy. And so now, as the influence is growing, the opportunity to impact lives is growing. I sat back over the last several weeks and said, Roderick, you really have to define this thing, really get yourself into an order. And it's something I've been working on for months, piece by piece by piece, with the new logo of the keyhole, meaning we're going to unlock things. We're going to go up this stairwell to get to the truth, right? And all of these things. And so everything has a purpose, the plan, the impact, what it's designed for. And now that we come down with our constructive tagline, but it's our marching orders, for the truth seekers. And we're going to question those narratives. But that narrative also could be you. You may need to question who you are. You might need to question some of your ways and some of the things that you're doing, because possibly it could be a big secret from you. Now, we always like to say we know how things work, right? We see how society impacts each other, or we see how the news tell us how things are going on and what is going on. But if we tend to go deeper, and as I've always said, the how is never as important as the why, then we can understand the why is so important. So by doing that, we then move into the point of questioning the narratives. And once we're doing that, we can now make the discovery, and then ultimately, why the big secret, right? And from there. So tonight, we're just going to go into a lot of things that from thoughts, from implications, to where we're going to go when it comes down to this aliens, extraterrestrials, we talking psychic, we talking all these abilities that we possibly have within ourselves. Because if you go back to what I said in the past or in the beginning, and I always talk about the book of Genesis, which is the beginning, right? In the beginning, right? And in this book, verse 26, chapter 1 says, let's make man in our image and the likenesses of ourselves. I grew up in such a way that, hey, that meant the Trinity, Spirit, the Holy Ghost, all these three things, the trifactor, right? Versus someone saying that we created you to look like us, and ultimately answers that question when people say, Roderick, what do the aliens look like? And I say, well, possibly we look like them. And it startles people. It makes them get weird. It makes them go, what the hell are you talking about? But could there be truth in that? Well, how about us questioning the narrative? Then we can find out. We can go deeper together as a collective and do those things. And so as I talk about some of the transition things that we're doing and staying on my reservation of being a ufologist, but also it's time to give you some things that I have been doing myself. And so doing not just inner searching, but understanding the capacity of the journey, all of the responsibilities of what's going to be happening, especially with Project Black and a lot of few things, and something I'll share with you personally, my audience today, that you're going to hear for the first time. But the other part of this is there's a huge responsibility, and nothing just happens. Nothing just happens. I just want you to know that nothing just happens. I always say coincidence to me is God's way of being anonymous, right? There's no coincidences, okay? There's things that are set in motion for you, for me, for us being here, for the ideas, the things that we're going to do, the lives that we're going to touch, all within this, but it's in this high strangeness, right? It's in this high strangeness that people are saying, oh, we're talking about aliens, we're talking about extraterrestrials, but it's more than that. I know that it's more than that. And a lot of times I don't convey it to you all because sometimes I think maybe it can get a little too strange for you. But now, after a lot of meditation and prayer and all that, you guys, we're just going to have to go with it. I'm going to give you some things, some insight. We're going to talk about stuff in the future, things that I've seen and talk about, and the visions and of greatness for some of you and all of you, especially those who are attached to us today. And along the way, the trip is going to get certain people. The trip will get them. The audience or my inner circle or all that stuff is a little different than it was 3 years ago. But now, as it's getting smaller and smaller, my circle is getting stronger. My circle is now getting so powerful with some powerful people with powerful gifts, powerful skill sets that I know for a fact that we're about to do, or we are already doing, the beginning of something very special. And each time there's a new layer stacked on it, a new layer, a new responsibility, because there was time last year that you probably, if you knew me or knew me personally, there was a lot of high stress moments dealing with this extraterrestrial stuff, dealing with these things, because I would get people that come to me, they're feeling what I was said, and I say it all the time, that they're religiously and emotionally bankrupt because the system doesn't work. The system that my mom, their mom, your mom put in front of you, or father or family, saying, hey, you pray, you're going to get this mansion if you go by this book, this book that it says here that life is going to open up the doors for you. And I'm not saying that it has not for many people. I'm not going against Christianity or whatever your religion is. I'm saying for the majority of some of these people, and now with this Aquarius age and all of this new higher consciousness part that we're in, the new alignments, the moon and all, people are feeling a little different and they're feeling strange, but they're lost, right? And these are the ones that are walking around what I call wanderers. But then we have our elders. I'm going to use that for a minute, for people who claim to have already been woke. And a lot of these people are now somebody, or some of these are thought leaders into the community. But there's a lot of people, and maybe some of you I'm talking to, that disconnects from those people because they're not woke. When in what I would say is that we need to find them. We need to reconnect them. We need to grab them up, because when ascension and all of this stuff is happening, we can't leave people behind just because they did not know. There are some things in that Bible that are some truths, but it just depends on how you put things together and where you want to go. Now, for me, like I said, it's been a journey, It's been a journey of saying, okay, do you want to take your personality? Do you want to take your skill set? Okay, let's go into what I call the entertainment world, right? We can go into entertaining and having fun and putting this talent out there. Or are you going to use it for a purpose? And which is ultimately one of the things you want to do is to find that purpose in life so that you can resonate and become who you were designed to become. And we're going to discuss some of that, right? And because we all are part of this divine, infinite design, that everything is not, you're not sitting on a chair that wasn't intentionally made to be a chair. You're not looking at me on a camera that wasn't intentionally made to be a camera. You're not sitting here driving and thinking every day of this impact that you're going to have on the world without it being intention that it is possible. That's what you were designed for. But oftentimes, if we don't question the narratives, we don't question how things are laid in front of us from people of power or people that supposedly love us or people or society or whatever we see, then oftentimes we get lost. But yet we walk around saying we woke, but we damn sure don't have the eyes to see where to go, which you would hear me say your eyes are useless when your mind is blind. You have to think why. And all these stuff I set in motion a long time ago so that this day has come to be able to say, okay, now I'm going to give you something you've never seen before, right? I'm going to give you who and what I come to do. And it was often said that, Roderick, you're here for the last time, you're an old soul. And I've felt that way all of my life that, I'm just here. I've always didn't see the things when the kids was in the yard playing with the cars and toys. I sat back looking at them. How can I build something so they can play with and pay for it, right? Or even just looking at society different, you then tend to understand where this isolation is not isolation. It's the cocoon phase for you to become the butterfly or whatever you were to be. And last year, I will honestly say that it was probably the most lonely time of my life, right? But I didn't realize that I was using the wrong term. It had nothing to do with being lonely. And there's a lot of you feel lonely because you're disconnected with the stars, with the universe, this whole extraterrestrial being things. But we're going to bring it into clarity over time for all people that are out there wondering. But for me, being lonely, I realized it had nothing to do with that. It's all about aloneness, right? There's two different sides of this, aloneness and lonely. And so there are times that I've now, not times, but I have now converted completely to aloneness. Sometimes I travel alone. Sometimes I think alone. Sometimes I work alone. Sometimes I am alone, but that gives me an opportunity to think, to meditate, to bring in fruition, to work on ideas and concepts and go into a place where a lot of people don't want to go. And also begin now where I am in my life is self-reflection. It's time to get this temple, this body, this vessel in more ways to have more impact. But if you're out there yourself and you've been lonely, think about aloneness and try to switch your mind, switch your consciousness thoughts over to that side, which will allow you to question those narratives, will allow you to delve into knowledge, allow you to do that shadow work, all these things within yourself so that you know that you're not here by mistake. It's not a coincidence that you're here. It's a purpose. It's a thing. And hopefully at some point you'll be able to do that. So as we talk about what we're saying with Why the Big Secret, and we're in this journey, we're going to go into more deeper journey. One of the things is the questions of what if we ask those questions that could change the way that we not seeing the universe but also ourselves. If we can go on those journeys and take the UFO stuff, take the conscious stuff, not about focusing on what the government is running around or big secret keepers want us to focus on what's in the skies. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about focusing on what's happening with people on the ground, okay? And one of those things is we have to look into this in such a way so that you, again, understand your impact. And you, too, will begin to develop your power word, okay? It's important that you do this. It's your superpower. That one word that's going to describe your journey, your ambition, or not ambition, but your purpose and what you feel and do, put that together and maybe contact me. I'll help you with that because it's the most eye-opening moment once you do that, because it then defines who, what, and what are you trying to achieve, and it would allow you to stay fixed on those things. The other part is, in the search for extraterrestrial life, really, is that search really a reflection on our own quest for connection and understanding? Now, I say this because this is where uh, I kind of put together Project Black with the intent to focus on a disproportionate area in the African American community, indigenous community. But I didn't know how deeper it was going to go. I didn't know it was going to also open up that Pandora's box where people can then also begin to understand maybe who they are, where they come from. Not just us saying, all right, in my community, and I'm just using this for example, that we're going to go back to Africa, okay? Not that we're now going to go back and just talking about ancient civilizations, but what happens if we go deeper into the galaxy looking for answers of origin, right? And that is very significant, and I will share with you why it's so significant in a moment or later on here in the show. But the whole point is this search for extraterrestrials a reflection? And you can ask yourself, when you look in the mirror, when you talk about these ETs, or when you're attracted to this subject matter, or maybe you're attracted to crystals and all of these other mythical things that work out here, you got to ask yourself why. And not only are you using these things for yourself, but you may be in position to help others with these talents and everything else, which brings me into what you see in what I'm wearing right now is my new mala. And I'll talk about that. One of our truth seekers and definitely a friend and, made this custom for me. And it is so powerful. And I will go over it with you today and pretty much from there. And I even took the time today, and I'll do it now right in front of y'all. But this is my first time really relying upon the power of saging, right? And getting rid of those, negative energies. And I've always said it personally, to my haters, if you can hate me and you don't know me, I can love you without knowing you. Or now I kind of take it to another level. If you're a hater and you're watching me right now, you're really probably a fan, okay? But this right here today is the declaration of getting rid of all those negative energies and everybody that just going to hold or think they're going to hold back what we're going to do here with Why the Big Secret, Project Black, all of the things that we're doing. If you feel some kind of sense about this, then it's for you. If not, you feel the love, because it's all about love, right? But I will say today is the day that the disconnect is done. Anyone who feels that, whatever, go for it, because it's probably meant for you. But again, it's meant for those energies and all of that stuff. And so today I step into it and say that we are here. We are here doing what we're doing. And the fact of the matter is, it is a powerful thing. Being in my responsibility of being here in front of you is to be as objective as I can be, to be as authentic as I am. And then always at this point, make sure that when the things come out of this mouth, that is not attached with negativity, it's attached with love, but also as we question those narratives out there. Another thing that we will, and I'll go into this a little bit and give you some of the things that's on this. And like I said, I did a cleansing on it today, set some of the intentions for it today. But I will think, and I will give her a shout out in a moment of where this come from and all of the gifts and that she's been working on this for a couple of weeks. And I just told her, hey, listen, this is talent. You got to get this out into the world. And that is something that even herself would think about. So the other part was, how does questioning what's out there, okay, simultaneously prompt us to explore what's within? Now, that is my very journey. That is why I'm talking to you tonight, because after exploring so much about what's out there, the universe and planets, and interviewing countless of people, seeing those stories and developing that high sense of what I call high strangeness to become a normal thing, to where you can comprehend it and not be afraid of anybody's journey, no matter what they're going through, but also developing the concept of I believe, you believe, so that I can go on that journey. And then also, sometimes I get some of the weirdest emails. I get some people with some crazy energies. Now it's just time to say, block all of this off, send them back some stuff, right? Today, I probably had my first shut the fuck up email to somebody. I sent it back, and that's out of character. So if you're the one who got it and you're sitting here watching, then I'm not sorry. I'm not going to apologize for that, but I will say to you, it's not my character. So therefore, you can take it in whatever context that you want. But it will stop here. I don't give a fuck. You can do whatever. But I get this kind of stuff, and usually I don't respond. Lana used to always say, hey, you got to say this. But now it's time to let them know. You can't walk yourself around saying some of the stupid stuff that you do and then expect that you're going to gain respect out of this and then walk under the pretense of love. Really? Some of these people really are backwards. And I'm saying that I deal with it all the time, but it has stopped now because it's getting in the way of other stuff. And so I'm just saying we have to understand where we are, what our purpose is, and what are we trying to do when it comes down to this. And so, like I say, that was some complete word verbatim what I sent back with some more messages. But it was the first of its first, and hopefully it's the last of it. But if it's not, then I'll just copy it and give it out. But now, when we question the narrative, what if knowledge is power? Okay, what if exploring the UFO stuff, the consciousness stuff, is now the true power? The power of not only identifying who you are, but to answer those questions when you feel that nobody's with me. Answer those questions when you feel like, why am I feel alone, when you probably are not. Answer the questions of maybe somebody's watching me and maybe they are. And at this time, how can you deal with it? And then also as you get with your partners and other people that you're in relationships with, sometimes that may take some realignment, okay? It may take some realignment because you have changed, you have evolved, and by studying the high strangeness of paranormals and all, it takes you from a whole different perspective. You're no longer just caught up in what we see on TV. You're no longer caught up into what the Bible in some of its context says that may not align with your inner thoughts, right? And so now it's time when we're looking at extraterrestrial stuff, when we're talking to people about their experiences, especially some that are having these divine experiences, it's time for us to collect that data, that information, and then start to figure out, is this applicable to other people, right? Does this work? Is something going on? Is this something that you thought you may have been by yourself, but now you're finding out it's 20 of you with the same story, the same vision. And I get that all the time. I connect dots with people all the time. And I'll be like, listen, and they'll go, Roderick, you probably know this is strange. I'll be like, hell no, it's not. And by the way, I talked to this person who had the same story, and y'all don't even know each other. Not in this realm, but maybe in the other realm, y'all could know each other, right? So it's worth you exploring all the possibilities, but it's also worth you going back and rounding up the wanderers, the ones that you met. And don't get me wrong. I'm not saying go telling some people who's not ready for this, because only when a student is ready, the teacher will appear, right? You do know that. So don't you initiate the conversations. You just work on your energy that you're going to attract those people who are questioning things, who are beginning to want to have more answers. And then don't overload them. Take them with baby steps, right? So at this point, that's what the journey is all about, right? So we're all going to talk about the interconnectedness of all beings, right? I don't do a lot of this. I don't talk about a lot of this, but yet it's not something that I don't meditate on, don't feel connected to. I tried in the beginning to just kind of focus on conspiracies. Everything is a conspiracy anyway, by the way, depending on how they lay it out there. But I try to also dip and dab of what is happening. But like I said, as I meditate in the last few days and weeks, was okay, it's just time to drill down. And always the message is searching for the why, but then how can I make it resonate with you all in persons and people who are probably going through things and really don't know it, okay? But what I'm saying is we can introduce universal principles of what we call, oneness, right? And I think that's something that a lot of us need to do, and how to, in exploration of these extraterrestrial beings is essential to the exploration of ourselves and our life. And this is what I've discovered. After all this time of me going to explore ETs, how do they exist, where they come from, I was growing more and more of inner knowledge of who I was. And I didn't see the correlation between the two in the beginning because it wasn't what I was focusing on. I was just curious, like most of you, right? I'm curious about what is this? Is we alone? Are we alone in the universe? Or all these people having these dreams? Could it be any truth to this? But then as I kept getting more data, then I started saying, wait a minute, this is some high strength. This is something I probably have felt and dealt with. Now I'm not saying that I've been abducted or I have visions of being on other planets. No, my hypocrisy of that stops with the fact that I saw a UFO when I was 12 years old. But to go on a journey to go into understanding what other people have dealt with has been a tremendous helpful component to understanding who I am as well, because we're all are connected. You know that, right? And if you don't, we are, okay, at some kind of capacity, right? But the fact that we want to go look for that oneness is what I just was saying, is that it will take you on a journey of higher knowledge. It will take you out your comfort zone when you start thinking about the regular things. It will make you then see when you look up into the skies, now they look different. Maybe they start moving in front of you. I don't know. But at some point, you're going to be able to identify high craziness from some of the people that you have been sitting around talking to and just never really understood that you were caught up in this little vortex of theirs. And now that you can be on the outside of it, you can see the craziness, right? And that's because you're disconnecting from those lower vibrations and the things that you don't see, only because you're an explorer into ETs. You're into the extraterrestrials. This is why we're going to explore those things. This is why we're going to continue to see what's happening in the newspaper. We're going to continue to see what's happening when they put an article, maybe someone was in Peru or the person in Vegas. It is necessary to explore all options and not be closed-minded to some of these things, because there's a lot of truth in that. But we try to look at the overall narrative, and it doesn't give us the ability to question the narrative when we should, to start breaking it down to pieces where all of a sudden some parts of that was true. Some part could be unbelievable. Some stuff can be like, nah, that didn't happen. But if you start adding up more little truth than these, or you start following the rainbow or the nuggets or the breadcrumbs of the truth, you may take yourself somewhere else instead of closing yourself out to those narratives, right? And that goes with whatever's happening. When we talk about David Grush, then we talk about the whistleblowers. Even though out of all of that, I still focused on one or two things that he said, and one in particular was the fact that they was finding abandoned spacecraft. Now, that got my curiosity, and it should get yours. You should look at the narrative that we're still trying to focus. Do they have? And the man said there's some abandoned craft. Now, if you woke up tomorrow morning and you saw an abandoned car in your backyard, you're going to go look for the occupant of the car. You want to know who left this in my yard. You don't give a damn about the car anymore, because you're going to like, okay, I got this. Oh, it's a Bentley. I'll take it. But who dropped it off? Who was in it? So I'm always concerned with who was in those cars. We can't find the passengers of those spacecraft because they're walking among us. Obviously, they didn't find a dead body. So this gives us the opportunity to question those narratives. And this is where I want you to go as we go down things. Now, as we talk about the interconnectedness of all beings, could the understanding of a single microorganism, right? We're talking about some of this stuff on another planet, revolutionize our understanding life on Earth, because obviously we studied that Earth could be some project planet. All of these things are here. Stuff is pretty much being connected. We need to understand those things, right? And hopefully today I'm giving you some insight in the direction and understanding a little deeper about who I am, right? And just so that you know. The other part is, how does oneness, now we're talking about being one because obviously we don't speak that language, right? How does oneness manifest into the universe filled with so many diversity, right? We got animals, we got all these things. Have you ever sit there and thought about it, right? Okay, yeah, God created all of this. And I'm not saying there is not the one. There's not one or the all or whoever have created who had an idea. But obviously, whatever format they said that worked, was his eyes, ears, nose, is on the animals, the lions, the giraffes. Everybody got two eyes and ears and a nose and a mouth. Obviously, that particular model or particular base model of all beings tended to work. Now, don't get me wrong with the spiders with 22 eyes and 8 legs. Maybe they got away from that, but whatever they decided to do went from 4 animals, 4 legs to 2 legs, but they still kept in concept that we're all going to have eyes, we're all going to have ears. That used to be something that complexed me as a younger kid. Like, wait a minute, all right, all these animals look alike. But then now we break it down a microorganism and all this stuff working in a divine intelligence, right? And that's something that I'm finding out even now as I'm eating more fruit with water. And I'm saying this because getting connected with divine intelligence is helping me now shape my body, digestive system, more energy. And I'm just doing the basic things. Okay, if God made it, eat it, right? And so at this point, it has changed my outlook, but it's for the better and all in due timing. It wasn't supposed to happen 6 months ago or 6 years ago. It's supposed to happen for me right now, and the time is now, and this is why I accept it. And the same for you. You don't have to worry about things that had not happened in your life when it possibly was not supposed to. And now is the time if you decide to activate those things. And so basically, is our longing to connect with extraterrestrial life is a deeper cry to connect with all forms of life. There's a faction of people that want to meet aliens. They want to say that they're here for peace and love and all of those things. And I'm still a little complex on that because there's a lot of things happen. I'm like, this can't be love. You cannot watch this stuff happen, but they do. And it's on our watch, right? But then it's the power of maybe they don't have the power to intervene. We talked about the Galactic Federation in yesterday's video. Check it out. We didn't go into that deepness, but it's a possibility that that's not going on. But the whole point of this is how does oneness manifest itself in a universe filled with so much diversity, like I just said? I don't know the answer to that, but I do know that it's all connected. And I do know it's worth exploring. It's worth questioning the narratives that's out there that's saying otherwise or not. It's worth us to find out why the big secret, right? And this is part of our journey. And also, in what ways does the concept, and I wrote this down, of oneness challenge or affirm your current world view? And I'll read that again. In what ways does the concept of oneness challenge or affirm your current worldview? Place it in the chat if you can answer that from your perspective, not the world. I'm not interested in how we want to be the person talking about what the world should do. That's a reflection on you. This is you tonight. This is your answer. This is you, how you see it. And the question once again is, in what ways does the concept of oneness challenge or affirm your current world view? I would like to know that. And also, if we find evidence of life elsewhere, what does that mean for our definition of community? Does that expand? Does it expand how we will see things, how we love, and all of those things? Is it possible that this happens, right? And these are things that we're going to stumble upon looking at UFOs. These are things we're going to explore or stumble upon going down the road of trying to understand extraterrestrial life. And then all of a sudden, to understand extraterrestrial life, we can then understand parts of consciousness and how we are connected, or is the universe inside of here versus what we see, or are we in some simulation? Or there's so many questions that you can ask yourself, and you could then take yourself on that journey, but feel confident that you're doing it because you're trying to connect the dots for yourself and not save the world, because you can do that, right? One collective together, but go from there. And I think that's what we can do from there. But anyway, I would love to see your answer. In what ways does the concept of oneness challenge or affirm your current world view? It'll be something interesting to put that together. All right. So now this is something next is what you hear me talk about. And it is love, a universal language. Now I say this because when I first started out in ufology, I met the threat narrative mindset of Lou Elizondo. And I was really intrigued with. In fact, I was all down for it because I'm like, hey, I don't want anything to come in my backyard that is unauthorized and change my way of life. Never even thought about the government or big secret keepers are doing that anyway, and secret societies and even upper level people that's controlling the government, Bilderberg groups, and just all of this stuff that you find out later on down in the road. And the lighter's not here because of firing it up. But this, anyway, it's some sage. Let me put it over here. Oops. But anyway, so to make more things, to really think about it, let's tie into the larger narrative of universal connectedness. Now, I start speaking the word love quite some time ago, and then you hear it as I say to my haters: if you can hate me and I can still love you. And then, of course, you hear some people that speaks that there's a soul team. You got your spirit angels. You got your all types of whatever above us. And supposedly the language is love. Supposedly we're supposed to learn that as a species, and the extraterrestrials will give us entry into some higher ascension level, or maybe off-worldly, that we're not here in this particular realm, but we're in somewhere else. And that remains to be seen. I'm not here to tell you that I have an answer for that, right? I'm telling you that the exploration of that, questioning the narratives of what love really is and not, and what people say it is worth delving into, all right? And believe that you will probably look at things a little different when you think about it once you do that. But, the part is and here's some questions for you to think about. Is love the true universal language? And I see Jen just said that. Does it transcending time, space, and even species? And that's a question for yourself. Once again, is love the true universal language, transcending time, space, and even species? That is worth for us to explore the big secret of that, right? Why the big secret if it is? How come we don't know that? What narratives that is out there that wants to keep that component from us all understanding? And what would happen if everybody understood it? Would it change the world? Would there not be any more world? Would it not even need of us to be here anymore? Because everybody done figured it out. The experiment is over. Close down Earth, lock the key, shut it down. I don't know, right? But it's worth us to think about, to bring in those things. And I think it's something that we should be looking into. The other part is, how might civilizations millions of light years away experience and understand love? Now, that is something that even the most curious minds probably want to know. You think that the question that would be the main question if extraterrestrial shows up is, who is your God? And maybe the second question would be love. What is love? And everything else. And I think I've said it this myself, and I don't mind being transparent. I've said it to a few people. I've said it that I thought for a moment of being here that I don't think I experienced true love, right? Now, I'm now open-minded enough to say maybe I have, and I just didn't know how to receive it. Maybe I have from someone who love to them was this, and maybe my expectation for love was that. And some of you may experience the same thing where you think somebody's not loving you, but they're loving you on the basis of how they can love and understand love. And then therefore we in this conflict of, you don't love me, I don't love you, and now we shouldn't be together, when that may not be the case. Maybe just the fact that the lack of understanding needs to have a better clue of understanding. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some vicious folks that if you just know they don't love you, you don't love, right? And I just now equate it to the love that I get from this dog in here. And let me tell you something. I left out this room a while ago. I came in here, we're talking, and then all of a sudden, not here, but I went back and I was on the phone. I went back in there. That damn dog started hopping around, licking and happy as though I've been gone a fucking year, right? And I was only gone 3 minutes. I'm like, now this is some love. I'm laying down working, and it comes over and it lays next to me, and it doesn't feel comfortable unless it's just got some body part just touching my energy. And then every now and then it picks up that I'm sitting here concentrating on something, and then it'll come under me and pick up my arm, like, come on, put your arm around me, give me some love. And I'm like, that's the love. I want some dog love. Lick me, right? Literally. But the whole point is, could we really work off of that, right? Is that true love? Is the dogs put here to show us what love is truly is, right? Because you can almost abuse one of them. I have never done it. I've seen it, and they still are capable of loving. And that could be the same thing with people that went through trauma. I don't know. That's another part. I'm just talking. Um, but Lynn says, loving anyone without conditions, that means that I will love you regardless of the state that you're in and keenly aware of the state, but unconditionally love you. I think it's good because anytime you get, and I've said this, Lynn, all the time, and I'll say it to anyone. And if you ever get into a conversation with somebody who's telling you how much they love you, all of the great things that they do or you do, and then they come back with the word but, I'm telling you, you can cancel every freaking thing that just came out of their mouth. If they start telling you, I love you, but now, as Lynn just said, it is a condition on the love. Get away from it if you can. Try to get it realigned, whatever it is. And it's called verbal abuse. If you didn't know it, somebody don't have to physically be hitting and abusing you physically. But if they love you, but if you don't do this, but I love you, but if you don't change, but, and I'm not saying you don't make the changes. I'm not saying they're not necessary, even if there's some changes, but they should still just say, I love you, but I hope that you can change. Not but, that's a whole different story. And that's not what we're here for. But I'm just letting you know that's some things that I figured a long time ago. And when I hear people that's doing business with me, but all of this, I can kind of say, okay, in the business world, because business should have conditions. Contracts should have conditions. This is how that works. But in a personal world, then that is something that you have to try to make sure you line it up. Another part of this would be what if the most alien thing about extraterrestrial is how they express love? I been seeing this a lot when I talk to people that had experiences. You take Jen for answer. One of her things is that, she just, even though through her experience, she just felt love within that experience, right? And I've had a lot of people that have said it wasn't fear, it wasn't anything else. And what if the most alien thing about extraterrestrial is how they express love? And maybe that's the power of it all. And maybe that's something for us to learn. And maybe that expression, when most people have had those encounters, is not even verbal. It's an emotional, energetic feeling that they get, that they felt comfortable. And sometimes the extraterrestrials would have to then use language to then let them know, don't be afraid, you're going to be okay. And oftentimes people hear those voices because it's necessary, because maybe they're not ready to be intuitive enough to feel the energy that has been sent to them. And for myself, I've always been that way. I've always followed the instinct and intuitiveness of my gut when I make decisions. And oftentimes I go that deep before I move on things, and sometimes question over and over and over. In fact, one of the new attentions that I set for this thing is this mala is to be part of my question part, just kind of go through each bead as I meditate. But also, if I want to seek answers to something I think is deep, even though I do take myself into another area to get those answers when I close my eyes and visualize some things. But and that's just something there. But another part of this is, could understanding diverse expressions of love on Earth prepare us for intergalactic diplomacy? Now, we have to start thinking more and more about the galactic function of things. We have to. It's now beyond the laws of the land. There's probably some galactic laws, and hopefully they could possibly function higher than the laws of the land. Do we have to have a law in place that thou should not kill, or you're going to go to jail and get the death penalty? Obviously not. People are doing it. It ain't the law, right? Something else has given them the audacity or the thoughts that they can work above the law and give a freaking whatever the law mean, and they're going to pull the trigger, or they're going to hurt somebody because they don't believe in that level. Is now, do we need to get a higher thing? What is more of a higher part of this that would get people to not do this? but we're not going to find it in the world. We're going to find it exploring extraterrestrials. We're going to find it going into ETs and all of those things. And this is why it's important for our next generation, and even especially in my community where it is a taboo subject. Is it by design? Is it by design, like everything else, is to keep a whole demographics closed-minded in such a way of understanding their own power, and it goes beyond the laws of the land. It goes beyond that. Maybe it goes into a galactic realm. Maybe it's a consciousness thing. Not maybe, we know. So the whole point is, how do we get people to transition from what the probably control mechanism was put in place with biblical terms to a point to where they still going to follow the laws of the land out of integrity of whatever, but at the same point, they can begin to think higher. That's a journey that we can all take, and we can do that together. And so hopefully those are things that, and if I'm making any headway or giving you some other clarity of what we're doing, what I'm doing, and what I'm about, give me a shout out in the chat. Let me know, because I'm just sitting here talking, and but I'm actually trying to express a direction of things that we can do, what to expect, and also the love of what we have. Another part is, and as I come to a close in this particular area, is going to be why the big secret. As we talk about these UFOs, as we talk about other civilizations, as we talk about divine intelligence and all these things and all this high strangeness, does it take us on the journey within? Do we then begin to understand, as much as I have, the power that you possess within you, right? And if that's the case, we can talk about questioning those narratives out there, pursuing deeper truth as we are truth seekers, as we actually, instead of going outward, we're going inward to find the answers, right? And all of this is basically taking some personal steps to become more active in the community. You all are stepping up. And there are some of you who are watching me, listening to my voice, that this is not all about me. When I do this, although I do sometimes see myself as the headliner, the opening act, the after party, right? Because you have to, because sometimes everybody's not ready to get up here and speak and talk and share some things with us within reason, right? And if some of you are getting to a point where you're ready to do that, the only thing I want to require is that you take the investment of getting your microphone, some good internet, and a good camera so people can see you. I don't try to hide in front of people. I don't, I used to be a little, about showing what I call the muscle. Now I don't care. That's pretty cool. That's why you see the camera angles change. But some of you want to help people, but you don't want to understand the responsibility is they need to see you, right? It's so important that people can look within you, understand who you are, and connect with you through the eyes, through the energy that you possess, and all of those things. And if you're one of those people and you are beginning to be ready, man, you can get a simple high definition webcam that probably you're going to spend $100 because you need HD. Or if you get your camera, I'm using a Sony camera with a Sigma lens. The setup is about $1,000 on this particular camera, that one, and I got GoPro cameras that'll work too. Especially when we get out here, if you're going to do the truth seekers and the ET on the streets. Now, when this temperatures ain't done, we're fully blown, and we're going to be getting out, going to cities. I'm gonna rent these tent sets and maybe a little van. I'm gonna be on the road. We're gonna be in different towns and places and doing, understanding this stuff right here, right? But you can do it with a GoPro. They're on sale like $399, and it's cool. So definitely look into that and pretty much. But the other part of this is when we're talking about the journey within, how does questioning the narratives and around extraterrestrial life encourage you to question your own life narrative? Now, this is a journey I went on perfect for myself, because for a while, like I said, I didn't see myself in the picture. I saw myself watching the picture. Okay. And back to what I just said, if all I've made a plea to is you're going to be welcome to join me to give your thought leader, your worldview, and your impact, because time for time I'll bring some of you into the show. Why not? Right? It's time for us to do it as a community too. From there, but back on point is how does questioning narratives around extraterrestrial life encourage you of your own life narrative? And like I said, for me, in the beginning, I didn't connect the dots. I didn't care about connecting the dots. It was just me trying to be curious about UFOs, aliens, and extraterrestrials, and not knowing all along that I was real close to the thing, that the manifestation that I would do, and all of the deep insight, and not knowing, and taking the faith and courage. Listen to me closely. I used to be a exotic bird broker. There was a lot of money in that, right? And I had a great lifestyle with that, right? I was shipping birds. When you go to Petco and all of that was coming from breeders and brokers like myself, parrots, and would get them from all over the different places and bring them into warehouses. If you don't believe me, go to a YouTube channel called Think Aviculture. It is my channel. You will see me talking about birds. You will see that this particular studio was full of bird cages for lovebirds. And then I have warehouses full of birds, parrots, shipping them in crates and all of that. Go there. I don't talk about it, but the channel's there. It's got the views. There's thousands of views. Some of the videos got 100,000 views, more than what I get here. And something kept saying, hey, go back to the bird business, But I was drawn to this, and I trusted those instincts and started the first video. Started going down this road with no, a whole career change at 50 years old, right? Moving to help move with my mom. And I got the best mom in the world, the best incubator that I could ever be in. And what we're going to talk about here in a minute is going to show you the power of all of that, okay? And the people around you and the supporting cast and people that, like I said, are here and have supported me in some enormous ways, which they all are going to be truly blessed from, because I'm going to bless them back too, right? And I'll explain that to you. But the other part of this, what inner barriers, I'm saying, are what we call no-fly zones, have you imposed on your own imagination of curiosity? How far are you willing to go? You heard me say, okay, my hypocrisy. I say it all the time, and I said it all the time that, I'm sitting here to, okay, if I was ever in a love relationship or my partner, could they be a person that say they see dead people? And that's also the barriers, that's an inner barrier, what I call no-fly zone, right? I'm just not going there. I don't know why. I just don't want to. I just don't want her to be sitting here and say, hey, baby, there's 3 dead people over here, and they keep contacting us because they want me to take a box over to this person's house to show them what happened. You saw the movie, Sixth Sense, right? That one right there be a little freaky, because I want to kind of at least, is he sitting right there? Yeah. Is that him in a red shirt? Yeah. I'm in on it, right? But if I ain't in on that one, I don't know. But that's something else. But it still happens. It's good things. But the other part of that is, does this keep you from going where you need to go? Do you have limitations on the high strangeness? Do you? Because we talk about paranormal, we talk about ghosts, we talk about after death, and life. We talk about all of these near-death experiences, and we talk about high strangeness, unsolved mysteries, these coincidences. There's just so many unexplained stuff that are going on that you have to, at some point, have an appetite for all of it, because they all connect somewhere. I do believe that maybe ghosts and ETs are somewhere in the same. They both can go through walls. They both use some type of energy. Maybe they could work as one, and it's one of those things. And I think that's one of those stuff too. Body lecture said, are you going to put, no, I don't know, but you could, you can put that up. And it's just Think Aviculture is the 2 words, YouTube channel. It'll come up. Think Aviculture, about birds. But yeah, and I do need to put the membership link up. I'll do that in a minute. When we get down to the other part, We're almost done, and then we'll go into part two of this conversation, the announcement I want to make, and then we will get to the membership links and everything else. So the last one or two questions is, how can our own alien experience, feeling of otherness or not belonging, serve as a launching pad for self-discovery? Listen, belong uh, is a powerful word. I can give you a little history about that based on my own personal thoughts. There's not a person out here that don't want to belong somewhere. There's not a person that don't want to be part of a tribe. And oftentimes that tribe shifts. Sometimes you're part of this tribe and you switch to another tribe. It all depends on connectivity. But the one disconnected tribe the most is the ones of people feeling that they don't belong here on earth, or they sense very things. And like I said, these are things. I was talking to my children's mother yesterday, and we dated through elementary. We used to hold hands in elementary. We dated all through junior high, had our first kid in high school, right out of high school, and then we got married. We have two beautiful daughters. And when we had the first child, she had to have a shot, right? She had to have this shot and all of this stuff. And unbeknownst to me, she had RH negative blood, but they mentioned it. I had no clue about what RH negative blood was, or even thought, or what it could be. Not when I was 20 years old. I didn't know. And it wasn't until our child was in the hospital several months back, right? I remember told y'all my daughter had an emergency surgery, had moved a cyst on her ovaries about this big. And so you talking, and when the doctor and nurse came in and said, hey, your blood type is O negative. I'm like, huh? And then when I look over, her mother says, yeah, I'm RH negative. I was floored, because now this is what I do. And I said to myself, and I looked at her and I said, I've been close to this all of this time. I've been in the mix all this time. I didn't know in my 20s. I didn't know that 30 years later, I'll be doing what I'm doing now, right? So I'm only saying this to say that when I did talk to their mother yesterday, and we were talking about something personal, because we still have a communicative relationship. Don't believe, if she wanted to go to war, she do not waste time pulling out our swords, but we got a lot of peace now, and we just focus on what's happening with our children, and we communicate as though we were friends in kindergarten. And that's just the extent of it. And it's the perfect place to be. But she started telling me how today she still feel disconnected, because there were some things that she felt disconnected when we were young. We connected to that, right? Not knowing what I know today. And I told her about the RH negative, and thinking, because she's highly, religious, and she received enough to say, wow, it may be time for me to explore, because all my life I've felt disconnected, that I'm not from here. Now, it's the first time I'm hearing it this way. Maybe I heard it when we was 20, but hey, we young shit, so who knows? But I'm saying that today, nothing just happens. All of this was orchestrated from probably me being born, leading to where we're going to go here in a moment. But the whole point is to you. And if you're listening here and you're here, nothing just happens, right? We have to know that. So the last part of this what's the first step you'll take in your own journey of questioning, exploration, ultimately personal transformation? So I say this to say, these are things that I'm saying to you tonight. Well, it's also based upon me, right? I had to somehow follow the instinct 3 or 4 years ago that I'm going to move in with my mother. I'm going to, maybe drive Uber to make a little extra money, because I believe in this YouTube thing, right? And what am I going to talk about? Although I had so many other things to talk about, right? I used to be in network marketing. I used to build huge organizations, master distributor, all the sales or whatever. I loved it, right? But then I was going to shine light, because my heart turn, on the MLM industry. And I got books about it. Y'all don't even know. I got books in there, training manuals. I just never decided to do this, right? Again. And I was going to do this thing called MLM. And MLM was stand for money, lies, and manipulation. I was going to shed light. But then somebody kept saying, move to extraterrestrial evidence. You need to do this, not because of some of the other things. Now, although I knew there was a need in the community, but there was also something else to fulfill within myself. Why am I so intrigued with this? Why am I feeling sometimes that this is something nudging me to do, even in my affirmations of helping millions and millions of people? So now all of a sudden, we are here, right? And to question that journey is no longer a question. I know why I'm here. I know the purpose is big, and everything else. And with that being said, I'm going to share something with you that we're going to talk about in a more bigger fashion. But I'm going to give you a timeline. If y'all allow me to do so, let me know in the chat, because I'm going to tell you something special today. Let me know if you're still with me, or I can end it, because my goal is to start ending these things pretty early. Or if you give me a moment. But by the way, real quick, while I'm waiting for affirmation, I'm asking for affirmation today. Let's talk about, once again, real quick, Judah is the person that made this for me. Very talented, very special on stuff, but it's a mala. But when it's done custom based on jade, because I've already been wearing jade since I learned out what it does for my circulation and all this stuff. But to understand what the mala beads, the energy, and really to help you deepen your meditation, to guide you, because you can use the beads. All right. My particular necklace composes of several beads. Okay, thank you. I'm going to tell y'all something in just a second. But all of this, nothing just happens. That's all I'm trying to say. But on here, she meticulously added the tiger eye, right? These are all these other beads. They're in here entwined. These are all from the earth, of course, and for grounding and you name it. But anyway, it's got tiger's eyes. And this is to increase your inner strength, self-confidence, passion for life, and promote good judgment, and protects against the evil eyes, right? And you can best believe that I get that from the journey that I'm taking here. You got jade, which is here, and on here. Promotes long fruitful life, helps make cherished dreams a reality, inspire wisdom and problem solving, and deepen the capacity for love. Why not? I'm searching for it, right? It's got quartz crystals, which is what made this Forbidden Knowledge Award behind us that Billy gave, which is all quartz. For being from Forbidden Knowledge at the Conscious Award. This is pure quartz, by the way, and even the bigger ones that people took home. But it amplifies physical and mental energy, increases effectiveness in other stones, and it promotes calmness, clarity, patience, keeps one in touch with their higher self. And then I have some selenite, enhances mental clarity, intuition, promotes honesty in relationships, bring harmony and peace, and also removes the energy blockage. And she sent me the sage, so I did it today for the first time. I saged here before we got started, just to kind of let everybody know what we're doing. But anyway, I told her, or just not tell her, but just reminded her that the gifts, that she may need to do this for other people too. And she does, but she did this out of her heart. And let me tell you, I received a lot of gifts in my life, but the professional way, the box, the setup, the book on crystal healings, all the stuff she included, and the And sometimes you can get stuff from people, they don't tell you the other instruction. And the one main instruction at the front, she said, now go cleanse it. I didn't touch it with gloves, but now take any energy off of it and put your own. Some people will just give you something and you don't even know it. They probably don't put some in it and you wearing it, but that's the kind of honesty in people. You got Sakura, you got all these people that are gifted. So let me give you a journey along with an announcement or informative for you, for us, the community. And thank Judith. Like I said, I'm just holding it. I can't wait tonight. Like I said, I'm giving it the intentions not only for prosperity, the jade for healing my body, but to give you what you're going to be hearing from now on as we go deeper, but also to help me answer questions. I meditate for days, but maybe I can just go through a mantra of that same question until I get to the other side. And by the time I have the answers a lot quicker. So I think that'll be, and we can kind of do that as well. But anyway, she made it extra little long because I'm big for my age, maybe, or just because I'm big in heart. So I got a big heart, right? It covers the whole heart. But again, I love it. I love it. I really do. And so kudos to that. All right. So in the journey, and I'm going to make this really quick. My first video on YouTube was Why Now? It was the name of it. And I didn't even have a show called Why the Big Secret. It had about 100 views. From there, I ended up getting a phone call about being on Discovery Channel. And I thought it was a prank, and it wasn't. So I'm not going to go into the whole story, but the whole point is that was the beginning, and that was show number 1 called Alien Endgame that they wanted me to host. I had a lot of apprehension because I was pretty still good size. Actually, I weighed a little more than I did now, and I was like, hey, wait a minute, TV and all that put 30 pounds on you. I wasn't thinking about the purpose and where it's going to take me today. I was still trying to figure out why me? Why did they pick me? And I remember asking a lady, and I've always used to say to the she-wolf, the second wife, and I used to go places and we would sit, watch people walk, and I would study body language. And it was always fun. If you can want to learn this, it is a beautiful thing. You just go to the mall, you sit on the bench, you start learning body language. You can see people walking side by side, and you would know if they love one another or they're together. The body language is so revealing. You would know they don't even like each other. They're just hanging. They don't really talk. This is just an outing. Some people have some tremendous love for one another. Just watch. Start watching the body language. You can know somebody who walking like they are a kung fu expert, or maybe they got guns on them. They'll shoot you in a heartbeat. You can see the posture of these people. So we used to have a lot of fun doing that. And I do it still, and hopefully the future Roderick's mate, we will go back to doing it. It's just so fun. I'm telling you, it's a lot of fun, okay, watching the species. So anyway, when I asked him why me, it was like, well, we didn't choose Denzel Washington. You are something we never seen before. And I used to say this all the time. So I then entered Clubhouse and got on Clubhouse. And I'm giving you this journey because it's necessary for what I'm going to end it with, okay? Or the new beginnings with. And I got on Clubhouse and just to start talking to 5 or 6 people because I was alone. Remember I talked about belong. You want to belong to something. I was lonely. I was like, had no one to talk to. COVID had just started. It was a high risk, 1 kidney, all of these things from when I was at a shooting when I was 20 years old, lost my left kidney, almost near death there. Then a second time, all of these things. But the whole point was I'm still trying to question. So I said, maybe I can find somebody else to talk to. Oh yeah, I got the personality. Oh, when I go to someone's house, everybody's laughing. But that was all I had left. I just wanted to make somebody else laugh, but nobody was making me laugh. Right. When I even, so anyway, I'm still asking that question. And then all of a sudden, from 30 people to 30,000 on Clubhouse, you're talking to. I started out using this thing because I wanted to do infotainment, and I was ridiculed. People's like, well, Roderick, he don't know this. I don't give a damn if I can just go read it. That's what you did. And then I was also cautious that I'll warn you when you got somebody who think they're expert and they know everything, but if you listen to them enough, they talk about the same thing. And if I talked about the same thing for 30 years, I'll be an expert at it too. But watch people who only talks about the same thing. They don't diverse the conversation. They don't grow into something else. Or they may put a little add-on to it. But now they know the universe secret only because they know everything about Roswell, New Mexico. Be careful with that. Be real careful with that. The other part of this is, so when I got on Clubhouse, they had what they call creators first. You send in an audio. Remember, I used to open up my shows. Good evening. I used to do this. Dum, 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 dum. Good evening, everyone. You're in the right place at the right time. Coming out of Dallas like a fly, and I took it from the George Knapp thing. So it'd be like, good evening, everyone. You're in the right place at the right time. Blasting out of Dallas like an unidentified flying object blazing across the skies over your home, over your town, and landing in your phone like a, and I had my thing down, but they ridiculed me. Okay. But then I won the Creators First program, met some incredible people where they said, we're going to sponsor you. You can do a UFO show. Then I realized all the haters in a community that's supposed to be designed with love. I got it. They hit me hard with hating. But we kept going. And like I said, this is going somewhere tonight. So be patient, and it's going to be worth it to you in the next 4 to 5 minutes here. Okay. Or it's worth it to me, but it's going to be worth it to you. So that led me to second stage of where I am and still wondering, why me? Why am I doing this? I can't tell you how many times I was going to quit and not do this anymore, period. Even before I did all this, Then from their Clubhouse, I get a phone call from somebody listening. You don't know who's listening. Someone on Clubhouse listening that was for a production company says, we want you to be in a show. And at that time, I had other people around me, and they said, do you have anybody else that you want? And I'm recommending people. And there was a person who got on the show because I recommended. Okay. And then there's people I told that we need to clean up our act if we're going to recommend, and they don't care. But here's the point. So that door opened for that person, at some point. But that was another TV show. And by this time, I end up getting an agent. I'm meeting people like Nick Pope. I got people on my phone like, Linda Moulton Howe, Whitley Strieber, Alan. All of these people, even more, is in my phone. And I text every now and then. People that I admire on TV is how I met Billy Carson when I had a dilemma and he solved it. And the rest has been history. So I move on from there. Then I'm in LA and I'm meeting the person on a TV set where, by the way, I'm still asking the question, why me? I'm still asking the question, why am I doing this? And I'm in LA, okay? I'm here for a TV show. And if you've ever been in LA, the most prominent thing that you can get picked up in is a production van that says on the way to the studios, because there's people walking around with dreams who want to be on TV, who moved to LA. I saw some of the most beautiful and intelligent people living on the street with their bags and everything else, and probably can sing Beyonce under the carpet. But they just there. They're trying to get their moment because they heard that this is the place. I'm still asking, why me? Okay. And there's a line that's 500 people in. They all dressed like penguins, black and white, and they all holding a script, and they're going into this tent for 3 minutes, and he just putting them out like catfish one by one. You don't know if you made it or not. And I see this, but I'm still asking, why me? Why am I here? And so it was the first time I shed a tear in the window, in the mirror, because when I looked out to the other side, I was like, you were chosen. But I'm still asking, why me? But I figured out I was chosen, though. So I'm getting somewhere with this. And so at this point, I'm still, okay, so now I got 2 TV shows. Here's somebody who's at home watching this stuff. Just talk to somebody jokingly, just like you are today, and you could become. and you just don't have a clue. But you got to follow the instinct. I wasn't afraid, even though everything in my body said, don't take your overweight self down to Hollywood. They're going to laugh at you. They're going to put you on TV and you're going to get all the ridicule. But something was like, you know what? So I started laughing at myself, which I stopped now, because usually I'll walk up to somebody. If I'm in a grocery store, they'll say, excuse me. And I found this joke that I would use on myself to comfort me. And I would say, no, excuse me. It's more me in your way than you're in mine. And they don't catch it until they kind of walk off. But I knew every time I laugh at it. Right. And so it's like, hang on a second. So it's like one of those things that I'm sorry, just got to respond. So anyway, I still would ask, why me? But I would take punches at myself. Okay. And so, but you're still getting more and more rocks stacked up. Why you? But you over here, why me? The negative of the left, the right is still growing until at some point it's going to get bigger. Okay. Or you can just make the decision. But mine had to stack the cool, and I'll continue. So when I was there and I got out of that car or went into that production van, and I was like, man, I shed a tear in the mirror, and I was like, there was 1 or 3 occasions, and I was like, man, this is you. But I had no one to talk to. I was divorced. My business friends are not into ETs. I was alone. I was lonely. And like I said, it's a difference now being, alone in this versus lonely. I'm on this side now, and I'll get to that. And I didn't have nobody to share it with. No one, not one person, not my children, to say, hey, I'm down here on TV for the show. I was like, maybe it's just somebody will find out. My dream was my kids, maybe they will find out about this, down the road. So anyway, that happened. The show was good. The lady that I met on set, the people that I met on set, we was in a show together. Later on, she becomes head of production of Billy Carson's channel or his productions, not knowing who you meet, not knowing the connectivity or what happens. So when he started working on his show, Black Like Satellite, she said, hey, you need to call Roderick. And he had already helped me on Clubhouse, but it was just like, hey, why not? So that came into fruition. And I'm still saying, why me? I used to tell Billy all the time, he could pick a lot of people to be, okay? But he said, no, we want to not only be with you with Forbidden Knowledge, but he's part of my management team, right? I have one. So he's like, hey, we're gonna, and I still was like, what the fuck? I mean, shit, I'm broke, because I'm trying to equate it with money, but it's not about the money. The money is going to come, as I will explain momentarily. So, and I'm saying to hear this for you, you're on this journey. And you can keep questioning why you. It's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing. Just don't stop seeking the answers. Don't give up on the why you, like, some people do. And I could have done it many times. So I get a phone call later to be on another TV show. Okay. And this was, and now, by the way, my dream, and let me tell you about manifestation. My dream was always watching Ancient Aliens, and it wasn't a dream to be on the show because I never could comprehend it. I could never thought about it. I just used to binge watch Ancient Aliens. So then I get the second TV show, third, by the way, and I'm going to speed it up some. Then I get the 4. So in 2 years, I've been in 9 TV shows. I'm Gaia a couple of times. I've been invited out there. I've been also featured on Coast to Coast Radio. I used to listen to this at night. Coast to Coast Radio. Who would have thought that I was going to be? And I used to love to hear the opening. Good evening, everyone. George Knapp, George North. And now I use some of what they say when I say, I bid you good evening, good morning, good afternoon, and the 24. I say this now because when I was young, listening to this stuff, didn't know it was programming, didn't know that I was becoming. And so I'm saying this to you, that you belong here, and let me get where we're going. Yeah, question everything. Question the narrative. So I'm on Coast to Coast Radio. Now, there's a community of people there's a community of people that, won't even know that I exist. And that's in my own community. Okay. That's in my own community. They don't know that I exist. Okay. They just don't know. All right. But they're going to find out. They're going to find out. And I've always dreamed of them finding out. Okay. So anyway, 9, 6, 9, 7 TV shows later, now you're on Coast to Coast radio. So my pedigree is there. So I get people that be in here and be like, blah, blah, blah. And I don't care. They haven't done what I've done. And I normally have not bragged about it. A lot of people wouldn't even have known. But someone kept saying, you got to brag on yourself, brother. You've done this thing. And I'm still thinking I've done nothing. I'm still thinking, why me? But I enjoy what I'm doing. So it's not a nothing that you just don't enjoy. I'm just existing. Let's just do it. But in the meantime, the influence is building, the confidence, the team, the people, our circle is shifting. And so I started to, start switching the name from Extraterrestrial Evidence to Why the Big Secret, because I wanted to have a bigger veil. And now the why me over here is getting bigger. Why not? Or why not me over here? And this one's it really didn't grow down. It just didn't get no higher. Okay. And you still questioning that. And then when I get the History Channel calls me out and I'm on their show and I get my check from Ancient Aliens. There ain't too many people of color been there. And it's not even a color thing. It's just the fact that my ass haven't been there. And I like to not been there. Okay. There's a lot of stories, but I'm saying to you, you got to speak up, because I remember negotiating that without my agent because I was so excited. I didn't give a damn if they gave me a nickel. I was going. Don't they pay for the flight? But I told them I needed first class flights. And they said, hell no. And they came back at me with the aggression of, are you some freaking diva? We ain't done that. This is Ancient Aliens, dude. Don't you know the significance of this? And I'm sitting here like my mouth is dropping and I can verbally handle myself, by the way. I can articulate what I have to say back to them in any kind of aggressive manner to fight aggression. But at that moment, I felt not to go against them, but to be honest. And I said, no, I'm not. And he was like, yeah, okay, we can't do it. In 17 years, we haven't done that. And I needed first class tickets because I'm big for my age. Right? That was the only reason. Not the leg room. Shit, it's the side room. So right before the guy hung up, I said, damn. And he heard that out of everything. And maybe he thought I was going to really go at him. He was getting ready to mark me and blacklist me and say, Roderick Martin got to be an egotistical, whatever. I said, my dream has just now been affected by my weight. And he heard me right before we hung up and he called right back. He says, whoa, wait a minute. Did you say your size? You need first class tickets by your size? And I was like, yeah. So the reason I'm giving you this part of the story, because don't let your current condition be the reason you ain't doing what you're supposed to do. Because that is not it. I have many reasons to quit because I'm overweight or appear to be fluffy right now. But I'm the size I'm supposed to be, and it'll convert to where it needs to be, right? So I'm sitting here and I'm like, hey, wait a minute. And he says, are you not trying? He says, wait a minute, we can't go down like that. We cannot bring you down here because you are overweight. And I was like, yeah, but we still got a budget, but I need to let them know this is why you asked for first class tickets. So they came back and they could have made a decision to say, we're not going to bring you because of the budget and leave it at that, but don't put it on a record because you're overweight. And at this time, my agent said, wait a minute. He talked to somebody. He was mad after I told him I had the conversation and the rate that I would do it at. And he was like, you just set the bar. They're going to have you doing all. And so, by the way, they had me in like 3 different shows down there, right? So there was another company, and this is how special. There was another company said, Roderick is coming to town, to LA. My agent said, yeah, he's coming to town. And this company took it up on themselves, called the History Channel and said, listen, for the budget, you bring him first class down here and we will bring him first class back home. And both parties said, yeah, let's do it. All right. And I am. I get down there. Okay. And so it's once again, nothing just happens. If it's meant, it's gonna happen. But you still gotta say something. Meant ain't just enough. Don't walk away if it's meant to be. If you think it is yours, you better fight for it. God damn it. Fight for it. Don't let somebody tell you if it's meant to be, it'll happen. I don't go by that. Because if it's something I feel intuitive that it is meant to be, then I better put up an extra effort to make it happen. And until I get rid of all options and have ran down every other thing that I could do, and there was just nothing left but to meditate. And then finally, after that, it comes back that it just ain't going to happen, or you just sit it to the side and say, when it happens, I'll be ready. If it's years down the road, that's fine. But don't go with it if it's meant to be, because if you thought about it and wanted it and desired it, it's what is supposed to happen. Maybe not at that moment. Okay. That's just me telling you that. So, but you got to fight. And so here it is later. I then had this dream and thought of Project Black. Okay, so I'm in the ufology thing. I've been on TV. I don't get invited to a lot of podcasts, a lot of stuff, and there are some reasons. There is some ethnic issues in ufology. I'll declare it right here in front of you, and I can give you proof that will stir up some things, but I won't do it. Okay. But I've experienced it because I'm headlining this part. Some areas. There's other people before me, Michael Carter, a lot of them has really helped me in so much ways to identify Billy, a lot of these people. But where I am in the part, I'm in the grass of ufology. I'm in it where the others have beards like I am, this white and silver, but it's a different story, So that's when I realized not only just me, but there were some other issues of finding the stories and what to look for and where is that place that could be created. So you heard me talk about Project Black. Project Black is an acronym for the Black League of Alien Contact Knowledge. And it's not just Black people, but it is more than that. Okay. Now, how do I know this was meant and big? Because other people did not want me to do it. I was getting emails. Oh, now you're bringing racism. No, I'm not. We're going on a dig, and we got to look for what we're looking for. If we're going on a dig out in the desert, we just going to dig anywhere for something? But what if we know over here there are some disproportionate areas? I don't have to explain that. I'm through explaining that because what I'm going to tell you next validates it all. Okay. So at this point, you have to do something that, listen to me right now. And I'm going to say this as emotionally or emotionless as I can. When I learned a long time ago to dream, this is what we're going to talk about next. But I don't want you to just dream no simple ass dreams out there, right? When you in this space of consciousness, use every bit of all of what you have, the connectivity, the spiritual guides, everything, and you dream like a fool, okay? And I'm not talking about any fool. I'm talking about a crazy ass fool. You dream like a fool. That's all I want you to do from now on. You dream like a fool that people will just call you crazy like they did me, right? You dream like a fool that even the most closest person to you feel not easy with you because you are dreaming like a fool. Not only you dream like a crazy fool, because a fool don't really care whoever's looking at them because they acting a fool. So just be a fool, but dream like a fool. And when I'm telling you, once you continue to dream like a fool, then those foolish things are going to become some realities to you. All right. Same as it with me when I got my check. And I remember when I told you early on, I didn't tell my children, I didn't tell anybody about it, but I wish that they found out some way. And I will never forget one of the ways was in the hospital a couple of months ago when my child was waiting for the emergency or them to admit her. Her mother was there. The mother's boyfriend, which I met him a few years, once or twice, was there. And I walked into the hospital to see my baby and greet her mom. And her man was staring at me. He was looking at me like, why? Or I'm looking at him. And like I said, once again, you got to dream like a fool. I'm going to keep that entwined in what we're doing here because I'm ready to tell you. So he looks at me and I'm staring at him and I'm like, this is not the place, but I will defend by all means necessary. I will turn into the silverback of the gorilla that's in me if necessary. I will lay it down if this is not the place. My daughter's bundled up. She's in so much pain, but I will make this quick for you, right? Because if it's necessary, I need to get back to my child. So if we're going to do this, let's do it, all right? So he gives me this look. I'm looking back at him, but some chivalry came over to me and I reach over and I say, hey, what's up, man? He goes, we met each other. So he's cool. He's laughing. He's cool. I'm like, damn, okay. And he says, he looks at my wife, ex-wife, the mom of my children, not mine, but the ex-wife. And he says, this is the dude that I be talking about. And I'm like, oh. He said, this is the one I be telling you I watch all the time on Tuesday night. This brother right here. I didn't know it was your ex. So I am like happy as shit now, right? This is another part of the dream, right? You can't get no better than this. You can't, but you know, I got a little, it's not a little even ego or nothing. Not to say, oh, you lost me. You know, we divorced amicably. It was good. We're good with our children. But just for my moment, though, because, you know, being crazy. And my nickname, by the way, growing up was called Cuckoo. And if I haven't told you that story, I'm not going to get into it, but it's a good story. My grandmother had a cuckoo clock, right? And I used to run around cuckoo. So imagine now being cuckoo and you want to tell people you do UFOs. And I still get people, you'll see every now and then somebody come in this chat, hey, cuckoo, what's up? And I'll say hello, but y'all don't catch it. But that means that's from my childhood. So anyway, he looks at me and I'm like, this moment is freaking priceless. And he said, this is the guy. And he's telling her. And she's looking like, what? And here's the deal. He says, remember, I just told, he's in the hospital with us, but he had already alerted her at 8:00. I'm going to go sit out in the car because I got to listen to this guy and I'll come back here and check on y'all. And then he realized, he says, but you're not going to be doing your show. You in here. And I said, yeah. And then I said, I'm peacocking now. My peacock wings are up. And I'm like, okay, fuck it. I ain't going to disappoint your ass. You got me in the original. I said, dude, what you want to talk about right here? You got me live. Now I know their mom is there, so I'm peacocking. Anyway, that's another story. So that was one of the cuckoo, not cuckoo, COO-COO. Okay. Yeah. So cuckoo bird. My grandmother had a cuckoo clock that would come out every hour, go cuckoo. And I used to stand there as a kid and just watch it. I just run up every hour, just wait for it. And that's how I got the nickname. All right. So here's the deal. Y'all ready? All right. So doing all of that, we start this UFO thing. Now we got Project Black. And by the way, there are something in motion with Project Black is huge. I got some books coming out that you're going to really love, that we're going deep into it, and some really heavy, big things that could mean, you know, millions of dollars. I mean, it's been signed, right? And now we're just waiting for things. So I chivalrously sit here, beg for support, ask for support because I need it, because I don't want to get off the path because of money. I don't want to come off the air because I can't afford it. But there was times that I would get off here with you all and I will be up all night driving my V8, Uber and Lyft, and trying to make $80 and then spent $200 in gas just so I can come back tomorrow and be here live with you, right? Because that was the price that I had to pay. That was part of the price that I was paying to be here, to dream like a fool, and to continue to pull forward in the dream in spite of all the things. But I still had a bigger vision, not knowing that it was going to come to pass. The vision, as I started studying Project Black, that was deeper. Remember, I had Samuel on, right? And Samuel was talking about the theological prophecy, and about how blacks and the yellow people was here on earth first. Now, that was so inquisitive. So it got me to a point when I'm meditating like crazy, trying to figure out what? We was here first. What? You know, not first, but you know what I'm saying? That some records show. So that means that now we have moved beyond going back to Africa, going back to ancient temples here. We're now off land. We're now off space. We can now say there are some origins for all of us, not just black people. Now we understand that maybe we all was brought here. Somebody brought us here. We come from the galaxy and all of those places. So at this point, and like I said, keep dreaming. Dream like a fool. Don't just do no freaking simple dreams. Get to a point where I used to count sheep, right? Now sheep count me. You better believe it. Absolutely. So the whole point, that's how smooth it's become. But you don't get there alone. You get that with a combination of different people coming into your life, giving you energy, giving you juice, giving you support along the way. And like I said it before, these people are responsible. Maybe they know it or not. They are here to give you support because this is big. It's a collective, and they're giving the resources so that they can help somebody. And that's where I want to be and will be soon, right? So anyway, what I've been holding y'all for, I want y'all to Google, you're the first to hear. I want you to Google a gentleman by the name of Douglas Edward Haynes, Dr. Douglas Edward Haynes. I'm going to say it again. Google Dr. Douglas. Don't do it now. Do it when we hang up because I'm going to give you enough information now. But you Google him when you're done, okay? Dr. Douglas Edward Haynes is an African-American man that's been in this. His father started with model planes and stuff back in the day, and they built an empire behind it. And when his father, transitioned, he took over. But he's always been inundated with this until he then became part of his own stuff, building, getting his own FAA certification to own an airline, an African-American person on an airline. He sold it a few years ago, but he also had this dream of building spacecraft. So he's a scientist. He's done all these things. And he started something called Blue Ridge Starlines, Nebula Starlines. And he has another website called Blue Nebula. Okay, y'all listen me up. Dr. Edward Haynes, Douglas Edward Haynes, 3 names. Dr. Douglas Edward Haynes. That would be 4. So he went on and got FAA certification for what we call cargo space line. Now, when you think about the space race today, you only have like SpaceX and all these people. Nobody's really cleared or certified for passenger space line, but all of them are cleared by the FAA for cargo. Okay, listen to me closely. And he has a certification for that, and he's building a spacecraft that will transport people not one way to Mars, but back and forth. He's got the technology. He's been funded. He's doing his thing. When a lot of us haven't heard about it because it's not something we're going to hear. He's got all these certifications. He's done classes. He's even have now built his own first flying saucer, which he's going to introduce to the public in about a year. And in about 3 years, we're going to see flying cars. They're already passing this. But his is the flying saucer technology, which means it has no wings and none of that. How could he build something like a flying saucer to move, but left to right, but no wings? He's done it. So he is, Surreal said he's become the youngest African-American to own and operate. Yes, he's out of Colorado. That is him. Surreal, that is him. So listen to me closely. And this is let you know when you're dreaming like a damn fool, you dream. I'm going to give you the shortened version, but we're going to have an official, probably this week or next week, introduction to him. He reaches out to me about some weeks back, and I didn't get the email, and neither did the team. I didn't check it, but he says, hey, I've been watching you. Not only he gives me his backstory of maybe being a star child, but he's also, like I said, he has a prototype for his ships. He's already got the first level where he can take you some far up. He's already there. He says, I've been watching you from quite some time, and especially with you and your decision of Project Black and stepping out here of helping, going in this. And he says, I just want to give you courage because I know what you're going through, blah, blah, blah. He says, I've been watching you so much that I've been led to contact you to let you know that what you're doing is going to be huge. And I said, okay, that's fine. He said, so huge to the point that I want to talk with you. And the conversation went into him saying, why don't you, Project Black, your team, your group, your audience, people, whatever, why don't you I'm going to give you access to all of my patents. Why would he do that? Why me, right? Remember, why me? Because I'm dreaming like a fucking fool. That's why, right? He said, I'm going to give you access to all of my patents give you access to everything, and even help you achieve something so big, but it's going to help you grow and get your message out there. You are going to build a spacecraft. We're going to do it simultaneously, but you're going to build one to go look for the origin. And I'm okay. So now you got to dream big to really comprehend what I just said. You got to dream big when you're sitting here with much of nothing, that here's somebody who has technologies worth gazillion dollars probably over time, says we're going to give you access to this to help you with your mission that he was led to and have seen beyond what I've seen. Some higher force tells him that's the guy. You need to go and assist him because he's on point. It's like the movies when you see the guy who made Terminator had no intention for the consequences or the things when he was designing that one little chip that turned into whatever. And you sit here and you look back as a child, as you watch the stars and all of these things, that he says, this is what you're going to do. Not only after we discuss this thing for a few weeks or a week and talk to him and blah, 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 he turns and says, okay, this is how I'm going to entrust you. This is what we're going to do. You are now going to be part of this thing, and I will help you and give you the technology to start. Now, we're not talking tomorrow. We're talking 10 or 15 years. It could be a legacy I leave behind to the truth seekers themselves, because I'm going to incorporate this thing, right? I'm going to incorporate this, and we're all going, and now all of a sudden I can get the vision of the revenue and the power of what we've been talking about, right? The power past the point of just UFOs, the power past the point of talking about consciousness, when now it's a reality that we're going to go out there. And he's already been doing it, but he's a lot older. And now I told him, I said, so obviously you're looking for your legacy, because that's what I felt emotionally when he talked to me, that I can now say, okay, I will take the mantle, and I don't know, they're going to laugh at me. I don't know. And how would I put this out there? He says, no, you don't have to worry about that. I got the credentials. I got the background. I got the patents. I got all the technology. I can stand up with the best of them. All you're going to do is head this operation, and I'm going to pour it into you. And I was like, whoa. Now we're cooking, ladies and gentlemen. So the first thing was, now let's do business. Let's stop all this high consciousness, sugar, honey, iced tea. Let's do some business. So we did come to a point where he says, I was like, well, what happens? What happens when I go out here and the people with bigger resources and things like, let me hop on it. He says, no, I'm loyal to you. You're going to be the one. If they're going to get in part of it, they're going to have to come in underneath this thing. And I'm like, okay. And the long story short, we're going to more details later. But today or last night, I inked a contract, 13 pages with all possibilities for years to come, worth millions of dollars. Okay. It just has to come in fruition. It may be a year from now. At the same time, the other big thing that's connected to Project Black is going to be national, by the way. Had no clue, and I can't tell y'all that one yet, but it is huge. This is all from a fucking dream, okay? But also living the path and going through the nights of being lonely as fuck, which now I realize is not lonely anymore. It's aloneness, and that aloneness allowed me to get to know me and to follow through who I am. So forget that. That was last year. But to the point to where y'all saw me 2 weeks ago, in the audience, and people came out the woodwork to help me get a suit that I never owned, in years, because I never bought something that big, right? But knowing that none of these people, knowing the blessing that they're in here, which is the same blessings that I'm going to give back, and I'm going to say this live to all of you who have helped me. You will be the first to get stock options in what we're going to do. I don't know how much that would be, but I will tell you it'd be worth something for you and your next generations. And I keep notes of people that help me. I always do, because you have to. Now, I know the difference between the contribution and the real help, okay? But I'm just saying this to say thank you. And you have no clue of where we're about to go, but you do have one now. And this man is, oh, yeah, we'll take some hits. Oh, you can't do it. He got the technology. Okay, Elon Musk and them started the same way, and then they raised capital. But this man is already, I can go over, he's already It's ready to fly for 8 miles into the sky. The thing is already there. It's there. Okay. So we're not dealing nothing from scratch. We're just gonna take and build upon his idea of Blue Ridge Nebula star lines. And I asked him, could our community? Now I reached out at the same time. For some reason, y'all remember the guy that Elon, who works with Billy Carson with ARK. They do crypto, right? And they train people. And Billy, if you was there at the Conscious Award, I already said he made millions with this guy already. They just started. So I talked to him, and I hadn't told him that I was going to do the contract, but I said, how could I create some type of the crypto? And I forget the name that he called it. Come to me in a minute. But he says a token. He said, yeah, you can create a token. And I didn't give him the details because I hadn't signed everything. So I'm going to call him tomorrow. So I'm looking at all ways that we're going to do that. And all I know is the financial side and now my creativity side, it had nothing to do with this, but the other stuff is about to collide. And you're going to see something you've never seen before. But I'm saying to you, through all the struggles, through all of everything, it begins right here. And it's huge. We're going to make a big announcement about it. Then we're going to start going all over social media because this is real and it's the time. But the fact that the Project Black, I just got to set up the corporation side. So if any of you got corporation shareholder type, skill sets and want to get some advice, I don't have a dime right now to be doing it, but maybe we can do something later. I don't know. But the whole point is you want to gift into this. And not that you set it up before. I know how to set up a corporation. Now we're talking about a legal entity where shareholders and people can be involved because this is going to be big. It's going to be announced, and then it's going to be tied to that other project that's going to be really huge that you're just going to love. Okay. Contact at Why the Big Secret, email, and please don't put your telephone number. This is not the time to text. I can help you. Here's what I do. And I'm going to reply to your email. It ain't worth it to neither one of us. It's just not. Okay. But if you allow me to talk to you so you can hear my energy, hear my feelings and thoughts, then I'm asking for that from whoever you are if you're watching. All right. But the whole point I'm saying now is this is huge. It's big. It's going to grow our channel. It's going to grow our comment areas. It's going to grow all of that. And we're talking next year, I'm visioning thousands of people. But don't get lost in it thinking, okay, if he don't respond, he don't remember me. None of that. A lot of you got my telephone number. You still have it today, and it's not going to change. A lot of you know I will call you and talk to you, and a lot of you had opportunities to get my number. That's fine, too. And I will be a little more discreet soon enough. What I'm saying is, as a collective, you're hearing about this and you have an opportunity to be a part of something special. I have no clue of what the needs are today. And that always baffled some people that worked around me because they would say, what do you want? But they didn't know that we're working on all of this stuff and it's coming together. And sometimes you can't call a team play when you don't know the plays. And you're just putting a team together or the concept of a team. And so that has been one of the things. But I walk around at my mom's place around people. I see what they do outside, and they have no clue who walks among them. I walk past them every day with my laptop and computer working on $1 million projects, and none of them ask what you do. None of them say, can you teach me anything? They don't care, and I get it. Their lives are where they are. I watch women that walk past that I may say hello to, that I might be interested in, that don't even reply. They look me up and down because my shell says he's maybe not disciplined. I don't know. But I don't let that get me down. But someone could have been blessed for the future because I just took an interest in them, right? That's okay. That's how we all are. You're going to be in your cocoon. They're not going to recognize you. Not yet. They're not going to know. And we talking family members, we talking people right next to you. They're not going to recognize you yet. But when they do, you're still humble. You just don't have to make those choices, but you're still humble. And you do your thing. And I'm saying greatness is up on us. Yeah, we'll get some people like, oh, this is just a joke. No, the man I don't have to bear that by myself. This is not me. I'm on this side with this guy, right? He's going to bear the armor bearer of that. I don't have to answer the technical questions of yet. I'm going to learn. But he did say by the time we go down this journey, you're going to be an expert on space exploration. Well, bring it, baby. I want this. I remember trying to get part of the FEA, this program, and I asked them, can they let me in their group? And they was doing this thing and literally got the feedback. And no, you don't fit the bill. They're going to be calling now because they all going to want to get on the bandwagon. But we ain't got no wagon. We got a spaceship, baby. And we're talking 15 down a year. It could be your kids, our kids that take over the mantle 20 years from now. But we would already be having prototypes by then because he already has the patents and everything. So we leapfrog, right? So that's the announcement of that. Yeah, he's going to come on the show. He's going to be visible. He's going to be right here. I got all the other people, Paul Wallace and Samuel and Michael Carter and some other, a lot of people is going to be part of Project Back where we're doing our seminars now. We're going to get out here and start. He's going to do space seminars. He's going to help young children get into space technology. He's going to do workshops and free stuff all under Project Black. He's going to be on the board. He's going to be on the board. This is serious stuff. We ain't going to play with this thing. Playtime is over. You know what I'm saying? And but it's one of those things to do. And so I'm going to set up the corporations and I'm going to set it up where people can get involved with it. People who feel, I want you to feel it, the synergy of it, stay. And this is what I was telling all the Project Black supporters, which we only got 3 on YouTube. So they're going to get the inside first. Okay. And then we'll come down the other land. And of course, my team and all that stuff. But the whole point I'm saying is, ladies and gentlemen, look me in the face. Let me look over here in this camera if that helps. Nothing will be the same ever again. Not here on this show, not my message, not where we're going, the energy, and what we're about to do. And to some bees too, right? But I'm just saying it all come together. It all has coming together. And maybe I don't have the money today to go buy this and do that, but that's coming. And it wasn't about the money. I realize it now. It had nothing to do with that. It had nothing to do. It was about the energy, being who you are, and I collect wealth around me and not know. I just didn't cash the chips. I didn't see it that way. But the wealth is around me. It's always been. It's now coming together. And when I hang up and I get off here tonight, I'll be by myself again. But I'm not lonely anymore. It's that aloneness. Yeah, my dog will be there. A couple of you, I'll talk to you on the phone. But after that, this thing will get thousands of views. But I'll still run this journey by myself. Hopefully at some point, and I put it out there, the queen, the person shows up that understands the journey. You got other things you got to do. That's fine. But I'm speaking. We got a lot to do. But then I'm fine being who I am too. I'm not gonna be no sugar daddy out there, but I got to play the sugar baby. But I know I'm funny. I'm funny. Okay. But what I'm saying is this: you all have this in you, and if you are listening to this, you may be significantly a part of this thing. I saw Nicole, who's already on the team, says, "Hey, I can do a business plan." I have no clue. I didn't know she could, but I knew she had other talents. She works in aerospace, for crying out loud, right? And I told her, without telling her this, and said, "You ready to retire someday? Because we got work to do." This is the loyalty to the people that's been around from day one. Find a place, do something. Maybe you're not the scientist, but that don't mean that we can't do something, right? Because we're in this together. So, yeah, my dog is doing his thing, and pretty much. Okay, so I'm gonna look into the chat now real quick. And before we get out of here, and that's what I wanted to say. But the contract is signed. The journey has begun. And we're going to do some great stuff. And we won't look nothing close to where we are today a year from now. So let's look into the future. Let's be patient. I don't have no clue. So if you say, hey, this and this and that, I can't tell somebody they're going to be doing this today and they're doing this tomorrow, because we're going to have the best, right? You have to, but that doesn't mean that everybody's not included in some capacity of what we're going to do. Who knows? I got to set up the formulation. So I'm saying this now. I don't even have the resources to do that yet. So the contract is designed to give me time to set up the corporation, but it's all done to where it's initiated. So I got to go set up the corporation, figure out shareholders. How will we do it? How can I bless the people here? How can we do here? How do we, all of this stuff, maybe umbrellas, some stuff. Okay. That's the technical part. That's beyond the dream. Well, that's where the business comes. That's where we don't use dream shit for that. We use real life examples because we got to follow the real laws of stuff. So I know there's people in our group that are lawyers and all that. And like I said, you might have got a corporation. I'm not saying we're talking something complex, a little more, because you're dealing with all these aspects of voting, non-voting, and all of this stuff that I'm learning. So hopefully somebody will hear this and maybe I'll make a short about it or something. Who knows? All right. So let me check out the chats and see what we're doing here. But look him up, Dr. Douglas Edward Haynes. Okay. All right. So, yeah, we're going to do it. All right. So, yeah, we're doing it big now. It's going to be big over the next few months as it gains traction. We're going to be big now and not by size. We're going to be known, the Wild Big Secret, Project Black, the whole thing, Blue Ridge Nebula Starlines, which he's going to open it up to people. We're going to be searching for younger people to help design. What kind of design could this craft look like? I got a name where I'm going to name it for now, but it could change as a collective as we go on our explorations. I got the name of the space, the corporation. I'm not going to call it out right now, but you know, I got to incorporate Project Black, which is where everything is going under and where everybody's going to be able to support it. Black, white, they don't care, whatever. We're not only going to look for what people are going through on the ground, but now let's go find out what's out there in space where some of these people come from, right? All right. I don't see anything in particular that I need to answer to. All right. So let me put his name on the screen so that y'all can see it. Let me do a banner. Let me do a banner. So y'all don't be wondering what I'm saying. Yeah. Okay. That's his name right there. He's a chief scientist, PhD. All right. So this man is very intelligent. And you look him up, you find some of his stories. You know what we're gonna do? Where we're actually gonna go to one of these places. I'm gonna take some of the truth seekers. I can't fit in the flying car because of my size. The payload is not there. What do you call it? But some of you could. I'm gonna take a couple of y'all with me, and you're gonna be the one to test it. He's like, yeah, I'll let them test it. Do you want to get in a flying car, flying saucer car? Right? We got access now, baby. We big timing. We're just gonna fund this thing so that we can get out and do something. Yeah, so we're gonna put some stuff. Yeah, he's certified, Surreal. Yeah. Now, Surreal, you know you missed the reading, right? I emailed you a couple of times, like, come on, when we did the reading Friday, I replied to you. You were the one of the ones I had to replace because you didn't show up, brother. All right. So yeah, Dr. Haynes. So a lot of people is gonna hear about it. And pretty much from there. And yeah, Billy will probably help out, you know, whatever he decides. And but there'll be a lot of people. We're going to do more of a collective community type funding of what our part is. But any patents, any new things that we make under Project Black from cultivating goes into our assets. So, I mean, you're talking, you know, we're talking long term though. You're right. You're talking stock that's going to go somewhere, maybe, you know, but it's worth trying, and we got the capabilities, and we're going to do it. So, all right. So, with that being said, let me come to a close. And some of you are close to me. Yeah, if you didn't hear about it, now you can call and say, Roderick, what? Yeah, this is big stuff. And so, like I said, everything is inked. Contracts are sealed, ready to go. Like I say, I am going to raise capital from some of my inner friends so I can set up the corporation because I have to. But the other big thing that I did next year. It won't be a money. It's going to be huge. Put this on neck top of it. It's going to just be out the world. Then the book that's going to be coming out in the next couple of months. Billy is the publisher of it. You're going to love that. So I will sing the song that I used to sing all the time. Anybody remember the movie Orphan Annie? Put it in the chat. Y'all remember Orphan Annie, the movie, right? The little girl, curly red hair, right? It was kind of like a singing movie. Y'all don't remember that at all? But anyway, there was a part of the song that I always still sing, and I sung it up to a few days back, and I love the song. And one of the part I would say is when she says, yesterday was plain awful, because she was talking about how now tomorrow's better or today is better. And the guy was saying, yes, yeah, Daddy Warbucks, yeah. And last year was plain awful. There was a few times of plain awful. And I was singing that to myself, I'm poor as a mouse, blah, blah, blah. And, the other side of my ego, yeah, but you rich as a miser, right? And I would play this song. This is me dreaming like a fool. Dreaming like a fool. Okay, now I can dream like a fool. And I would play both parts of that song. And the one that resonated at the time was, I don't need anything but you, right? And that'll be yourself and your dreams and who you are. And then ultimately you will surround yourself. And like I said before, the proof is in the pudding. You can't fake the results. Okay. I can't fake that I'm losing weight and you see I'm not, right? It's working over time, but you can't fake the results. But I rather fly out here in front of you, being what I am and who I'm not. I'd rather be loved for who I am today and not who I'm trying to perceive to be, right? And that's how I've always done this thing, okay? But I'm going to give you more of me. I'm going to give you more of why me, right? And why we're here and why you are listening and should be a part of what we do. But I will say that the other part of that is, now I understand and understood why my circle had to get really small over the years, because that's the only way it was going to get stronger. Because sometimes you got to keep stuff close to your heart and invest. Some of your craziest dream, though, I ain't say tell everybody, but that dreaming like a fool, keep it to yourself in some areas. But you just remind yourself and you dream like a fool. And that's the message I'm going to leave with you tonight. That you have to dream like a fool. And, this is my to-go music. You know that. I'm going to be on YouTube every day. I'm going to be on YouTube so much that you're going to call YouTube Roderick Tube, right? And make it Roderick, because I don't go by Rod. I learned that my name Roderick means king, ruler. And when I used to call myself Rod, then it was cute, but it changed the whole meaning that my name my mom given me. So any of you, if your parents gave you a name and it resonates with something, keep it that, because all of this high strangeness means some stuff. I'm telling you. But it is love. But I have found my superpower word. And today that word is question. Today that question, the narrative, me asking why the big secret, why and how is not as important as why, have now led me to big things. And most people would think you talk too much. I remember you talk too much. Now you got to get the gab. Who would have known? And okay, it's a big dream, but now it's a reality, right? To go down this path. And maybe the legacy for my children and their children, your children's, your unborn children, and maybe, just maybe, the way it says it is out there, that I'm going to come back. Well, it says my last time here. But if I do come back, I'm going to come back and reclaim what we started today. Whether 3 generations now. Coming back. I think that's what the rest of them done. Jeff Bezos came back to claim his stuff. Bill Gates came back to claim his stuff, right? He's probably had the idea a long time ago. I don't know. But I love each and every one of you. And to the haters, if you're watching me, you're going to say something bad, then I just want you to know you're a fan. You are really a fan. You're a fan. That's what it is. All right, y'all. Take care. Love each other. Love and hug. If you want to, I don't know, if you want to already start to contribute to the show or contribute to the cause, I'm just putting up a quick second, but there is the cash out up there and all that stuff. So anyway, all right, enough said. I'm going to get us out of here. All right, love y'all. Take a like.
Why did Ruby shoot Oswald? Was there a conspiracy?
In a world shrouded in darkness and obscured by deception from the big secret keepers, a burning question ignites in the hearts and minds of truth seekers. Why? Let's dive into the abyss of the unknown. Challenge the limits of our understanding.
This bizarre sequence of double killings raised great questions. Who actually fired the shots that killed Kennedy?
Pierce the veil of secrecy.
Cattle found dead and the manner of their deaths are a real mystery.
Anyone who is concerned about lead in the drinking water in Flint.
And venture into the realm of conspiracies and extraterrestrial evidence.
A huge explosion now, raining debris on all of us. We better get out of the way.
Let us consider the question, why the big secret?